Chag Sameach. My name is Rabbi Tiferet Gordon, and I am the Associate Rabbi at Shir Hadash, and I'm also a third grade teacher of Jewish Studies at the Milwaukee Jewish Day School. I'm going to talk with you tonight about this week's Torah portion, which is Breishit, the first Torah portion of the year, which talks about our creation, how we got here. And I want to start with a story. I was walking in the woods the other day, and I came upon a forest of trees. It's a beautiful, beautiful forest of trees. They were at least 100 feet tall. And I sat in the woods. I found a stump and sat down and had some silent time. And at the end of my sit, I just looked around and marveled at this creation. And I really felt my place in creation. And as I was walking along by spruce cone and felled branch and spruce cone and all these beautiful natural things that I knew were down on the ground and either going to cause life or decompose and then regenerate into more life, I found this. And I had never seen this before. I didn't know what it was, but it's got a little bit of writing on the edge. So I took out my phone and I Googled it. And it turns out that it's a shotgun cap of some sort. Something used to cause violence or death. And that made me really sad. It made me very sad because I was just having this wonderful moment with nature, and then I found this. So in this week's Torah portion, we read in Genesis 1:26 that people are we're created for the purpose of ruling over the animals, the fish and the animals of the land, and having dominion. The root of the word is rada, which has to do with yared and coming down. And so we think of people ruling over the rest of creation. And that kind of thinking has plagued us for a very long time. The world that we live in is very much one of dominance, and we've forgotten to keep reading the story. So when we keep reading Parshat Breishit, we get a different view of creation, when we're not living in this place of dominion, but we're actually placed in a garden. And our purpose is l'ovdah u'leshomrah, to work in that garden and to guard and to keep that garden. The Midrash tells us that after the first man, Adam Arishon, was created, that Hashem flew the man all over and said, you see this? You see this? You have to take care of this, because after you there's no one else coming to fix it. It's on you. And I think we've forgotten that. We've gotten so caught up in the first creation story and that first way of thinking that our job is here to dominate. You know, there's a tree outside of my window and it's blocking my sunlight, so I'm going to cut it down, without thinking that, well, that tree's there for a purpose. That tree's been there longer than you've owned that house. If everyone had a tree blocking their window and everyone cut down the tree, then we wouldn't have any air. Right? We are part of this natural cycle. And that's what Breishit brings back to us, brings home for us, that we are a part of nature. Our job really isn't to dominate it. It's to work with it and to keep it. So we find ourselves in a very problematic time. We find ourselves with waters that are being polluted. We find ourselves with land that is being poisoned. We find ourselves in very, very scary times. And it's time for us to change our thinking, to switch from that mode of dominance to that mode of being in the garden, to being shomrei adamah. Albert Einstein says, more or less, that the same thinking that got you into the problem isn't going to get us out of the problem. So we need to start thinking towards being guardians of the earth, shomrei adamah. For some people that's recycling, for some people that's composting, for some people that's driving hybrid cars. And that's all good things. But there are smaller changes that we can make that aren't quite so life-altering, that still make a huge difference and have a big impact. One of those ways is littering. For instance, I see so many people throwing cigarette butts out of their cars. It drives me crazy because cigarettes, they're not going to go anywhere. Tissues on the ground, plastic on the floor. And I say floor, and even when I'm thinking outside, we're in this creation. So I encourage us all to find our ways of being Shomrei Adama. How can we best work together to be guardians of this planet, of this earth, of this place where we all live? Because it's true, the Midrash is true. There is no one and no thing coming after us to fix this. It's on us. Aleinu, it's on us. Chag Sameach.